Surprise, surprise! Not my typical setting. Yeah, I'm not inside of my room. Nope, I've made it outside. Yes. The sun is super nice. The weather actually is super nice. And this park is almost empty. Crazy for Tokyo, I know. And I decided, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go outside. And as you can see, super professional. My leg is my new desk. And yeah, let's go. So, lately I've been thinking like how great life in Japan is in general. And then I realized, you know what? It's been over a year already. Over a year! It's crazy. Time flies like pew. I don't know. It's crazy. And I don't know, within this 1 year, my viewpoint of Japan kind of changed. And before, I was like the biggest fan of Japan. Like, Japan Ichiban. And I still like this country a lot, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't have lived here for over a year now. But the interesting thing, what I think is what you experience once you live in a country is, wow, there is more depth behind everything. It's not like when you're a tourist or a traveler, you only see the cool parts, the good views, the nice restaurants, like the nice lifestyle. No, when you're living in a country, when you're moving to a country, you experience literally everything. And yeah, they're not only sunny sides, it's not only super nice. And yeah, today I just wanted to share a little bit of my thoughts. Like, since I said it's been a year, so I experienced quite a lot. And yeah, so let's go. Starting off really basic, and I think this is the thing I kind of underestimated, was the temperatures, or in general the season. Like, Japan is very, very proud that they have 4 seasons. And sometimes they're like so proud that they really think they're the only country with 4 seasons, which is a little bit hilarious, but no worries. I mean, it's okay. But I personally think like autumn and spring, phenomenal, nice. And I kind of would say like it's similar to Germany, but still in Japan it's a little bit better because it's less rainy, even though they have a rainy season here. But what hit completely different were summer and winter. So I'm always freezing. Winter was, the houses are not very well isolated, so the cold from outside easily came into your room. And yeah, the AC was always on, in heater mode, obviously. And then the other way around was actually happening during summer, because during summer, I think the high score I had last year was 41 degrees on my phone and in the shades, and I'm like, oh, crazy. And I mean, if it would have been just a dry heat, you'd be like, yeah, I can deal with it. But it was not. Like, the humidity, that's what I really underestimated, kind of, is crazy. And it increases every year. Because 7 years ago, when I came the first time during summer, I was not really smart. I didn't do a lot of research, I know. During summer, I was dying. I felt like, oh my gosh, this is so hot. But in comparison to now, that was nothing. It's crazy. Climate change is unfortunately real. Anyways. And so that is one thing. And then, for me, what I realized, and that's maybe a little bit controversial, but right now on social media, you see reels about Japan every day, from every place, or better said, just Kyoto, Tokyo, and Osaka. And everyone is coming to Japan. The yen is kind of weak, which is good if you're a foreigner or you have a different currency, so you can buy a lot of things for very cheap. But I experienced it myself, so once you're working here and you only earn yen, yeah, it's really hard to survive because the inflation increased. yeah, your wages, they stayed the same for like almost 10 years, but everything is costing more money. And it's kind of crazy to see. Like, when you are a tourist, I was always like, yeah, let's buy this, or a traveler, whatever. You just have a good time. But once you start living here and you are earning yen as well, you feel like, if I really buy this one, like, for me, I like Pokemon plush toys, as you know. Yeah, so the average is probably, I would say, like 2,600, something like that, 3,000 for like a small, decent one. And if you're earning yen, yeah, it's like 2 hours at least of working. So you think about it twice. And since so many people are coming, and you especially realize it in the big cities like Kyoto, Osaka, and Tokyo, that, yeah, I don't know, like, the safety is still pretty high and all the stuff, but it's getting more and more dirty. And I never really realized that because, yeah, I don't know, I try to be, like, I'd always try to adopt in any country I go. And here in Japan, you have to get used to it, but you usually bring your trash back home. So if you have a picnic in a park, it's not like in other countries or like in Germany where you have like just a trash bin. No, you just eat your onigiri or you drink your beer and you bring the empty stuff, you put it in your bag and you bring it back home. And it's new for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't know about it. And you see like more and more public toilets are getting basically just dirty because everyone is just leaving their stuff there, like coffee cups, teacups, ice cream cones, whatever. And you feel like, And the more I live here, and the more I experience Japanese, living, lifestyle, whatever, I kind of understand why a lot of Japanese people feel like it's too much, too many foreigners, too many tourists. And I get it, because unfortunately, most of the traveler or most of the tourists, they go, as I said, to the big cities like Kyoto, Osaka, Tokyo, maybe Nara. Some people go to Hokkaido, some people go to Fukuoka, but some places like Kyushu, this region, super pretty, and no one goes there. It's like these are places where no over-tourism is, and some cities actually, or villages. I've seen it myself. I recently took a trip to Nikko, which is close to Tokyo, but not Tokyo. And I took a trip to Nikko and I stayed at a place and it was lovely. The nature, super nice. The onsen, really nice too, hot. And just nature pure, but the village was abandoned. And we took a train ride and a bus ride. And by the way, the trains were only running 3 times a day. That was kind of wild. But there were a lot of villages or places which were abandoned. No one goes there anymore because, no business, no tourism, and people then have to move to bigger cities. And I think it's kind of sad because you have like a lot of tradition and a lot of culture on the countryside, and you don't see a lot of people going to the countryside. And what I want to say here actually is, if you ever come to Japan, go to the countryside. Just go to places which are not that overhyped, I'd say. And yeah. So this is like a little bit of a downside, like with the overtourism. And another point, and like one of the biggest issues, I think, is the work culture. The work culture here is crazy. Like, overwork is expected. It's nothing new. Like the shifts are hard, like 10-hour shifts. I mean, not everywhere, of course. And you have like a strong hierarchy, so like your boss is really top, and then the employees, and like age also matters a lot. So the older you are, the more you earn. Luckily, these systems are getting more and more loose because a lot of people are just thinking like, hey, I want work-life balance. And honestly, I understand. I mean, that's what we're here for, right? To enjoy life too and not only work. And I would say these are maybe the downsides, what I've seen living here for a year. So weather is hard, but yeah, I think it's manageable. It's manageable. But the worst parts are probably really like the overtourism and not respecting the culture. And if you think like, hey, why are you saying that? That's not true. I mean, I see so many respectful foreigners. Yes, there are, but I also see a lot of people, especially now during Sakura season, where people literally climbing trees, touching trees, and shaking the benches, the branches, and shaking the branches so that they can make this magical picture where the sakura petals fall in their face. And what they don't know, it's not a good thing to do in Japan. Like cherry blossoms and like to protect the nature is sacred here. So you feel like, I also, actually, when I went to the cat temple, because I like cats, I saw a dude going up there with his drone, taking pictures, taking videos, and I was saying to him, hey, please don't do this, because it's a sacred place, like, I don't know. But yeah, I got carried away, I'm sorry for that here, so I think this is like literally just the two bad things about Japan, in my opinion. And maybe 2.5 the weather, because the summer is really hot. But it's like the over-tourism and not really respecting the culture and just coming here for the hype and not really emerging with the culture. But yeah. But, well, whatever. These are all the bad things. Now let's come to the good parts. Food. If you like food, if you like to eat everything, it's heaven. It's really nice. For me, bit difficult, as you know, vegetarian, vegan, doable, manageable, but very hard and a little bit more expensive. But if you like food, you will have a great time here. Like the street food, I love that. When you go to a temple, a festival is there, or any matsuri, and then they have street food, I love that because you can try so many things. And yeah, it's kind of cheaper than going to a fancy restaurant, obviously. And then another thing, and I think that is the biggest pro, is actually the culture itself. Like, the culture is so rich. I love Japan, and that's probably also the reason why I always come back here. It's just, I love it. I really love it. And the thing what I love about Japan and all the cultures, they have literally festivals for almost every weekend, every day, so especially in Tokyo, something big is happening. You can participate. Or even if you go just randomly down the street, you see a new exhibition or a pop-up store and you'd be like, cool, I'm gonna check it out. So, yeah. The Matsuri. I think the cool thing here too is that they have Matsuris for literally everything, also crazy shit. And I've been to a cat parade where people get dressed up as cat, and yeah, I don't know. The Fox Festival, the the big firework festivals, yes. And I think the most memorable and the most crazy one is the Penis Festival. It's so funny. Like, I've went there and there are literally people carrying 2 huge through the streets, and yeah, they're celebrating that people getting kids and are fertile, and it's just so crazy since Japanese people are usually shy. So yeah, That's the cool thing. You can find literally anything here in Japan. Cool, different festivals. You can be nerdy. You can literally be whoever you want. And so also outfit-wise, no one is judging you. Everyone has their own style and I totally love it. So people have this Lolita look. People have business looks. People have colored hair. And no one cares. And if you walk around with a giant plush toy, people think, wow, that's cool. So yeah, after living here for a month, experiencing literally so many things, meeting new friends, going to festivals, learning the language, working here, and just immerse in the daily dose of Japanese lifestyle, I have to say, I get the hype. I understand why people love to come to Japan and always come over and over again. I get it. I really get it. I love Japan. And you might now ask yourself, like, hey, you were saying your perspective changed a bit. Like, it seems like there's nothing changed. And maybe that is right. But I would say, like, before I was living here, like, literally the daily dose with work and studying, when I was a tourist or when I was traveling. So, the first time I was a tourist, the second time I came here, I was a traveler. I traveled for 6 months and lived here a little bit. And now that I literally was a citizen for a short amount of time so far, I have to say, yeah, Japan is a great country. I think it's still my favorite country in the world so far. Japan, Ichiban, still. But I would say I see more problems, like I said, like overtourism, work culture, sometimes like, yeah, there like bureaucracy, that's a funny thing itself. And I mean, there are always like a few things you will probably not like, no matter which country you go, right? But I think you just need to find a country where you have the balance, like a lot of good things and then a few negative things. So, yeah, I realized, okay, Japan is not that super great. Not everything is perfect, because in my mindset, everything was perfect. I was like, this is the country where I live and die. And now I'm gonna say, like, of course, like, you have to pay a lot. Like, inflation is also a problem, finances, work. But yeah, if you really... For me, I actually have to thinking about it, like, yeah, if you really like the country and you really like the culture and all the stuff, it is worth it. I still love Japan, and that's all I can actually say. It's my honest opinion. I think there are some problems, but I've seen them also, like, in New Zealand where I was living as well, so, or Germany. Anyways, never mind. So, I personally think moving abroad is a great idea. And if you choose Japan, just go for it. Japan is lovely. Japan is really nice. And it's easy, honestly. Even if you don't speak the language. Like, thanks to the internet, you will get along. You will make friends. It's actually a really great country. And that's all I can say for today. So... thanks for listening, and see you next week.